units, I can tap the tap the alt button with my thumb to see it, and I like that. In the small micro battles, I almost always have just alt held down so I can see it. But I would honestly say this is a lot of preference. This is a very clearly preferential type of thing that I would definitely explore with. And always the way that I like to explore anything is to just say, I am playing 10 games with health bars. Not, I'm going to try health bars and see how it goes. To hell with that vague, let's just see how it... No. This is exactly what I'm going to do, decide beforehand. Because if you say something like, I'm going to try health bars and see how it works, you'll play 2 games and go, nah, I don't like them. And then you will completely cross it off in your head. You'll just, no, not part of my brain anymore. And you'll just say, oh yeah, I tried health bars and it didn't work. But it may have been the case that if you played up to games 5, 6, 7, and 8, you would have gotten really used to it and gone, wow, this is actually pretty cool. Because that's what happened to me. I said, I'm going to play 10 games with health bars. First 2 games, hated them. Just, hated health bars, right? But then I played this Zerg vs. Terran, and I was like, Terran vs. Zerg, and my Hellion control was amazing, because I had the health bars up all the time. I was like, all right. But I still didn't like it after about 10, 15 games, and so I put myself in the habit of hitting the Alt key, and it was a good medium between information overload and getting a lot of information when I needed it. So again, mechanically, that's how I would go through this stuff. Oh my God, Frame. This might be the best question of all time, Frame. Frame with a PH. Mr. 9. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the deference of calling me by my last name. I understand the mental checklist theory in theory, but when I get into battles in real games, I lose track of these basics. How can I learn to remember the checklist without losing battles? So now you're talking about the hard part. Because it looked pretty easy when I was doing it. You just heard me talking to myself a lot. And this is what's actually happening. Ingrained in your body, you have like a subconscious mental checklist, which is watch the battle, micro the units, watch the battle, keep your army alive. Are you winning? You know, you have this curiosity and stuff. But stop, like literally, I want you to do this. Put like a post-it note that says, remember your checklist in a battle. And next time you get into a battle, say to yourself, screw this battle, man. I'm not focusing on this. To hell with this battle. And just go back to your mental checklist. You will lose stupid battles. You will lose a lot of really stupid battles. But that's okay, because you're not trying to win battles. You're not trying to win battles. You are trying to improve your ability to remember your mental checklist. And this is a game that I want everyone to go watch. Go watch Bisu vs. Kanata on Longinus 2. First-person view from Bisu's camera. Unbelievable example of managing a battle. Because in that game, Bisu vs. Kanata on Longinus 2. Bisu vs. Kanata on Longinus 2. Just going to repeat it a couple times. In that game, Bisu is making a lot of units, making probes, making a lot of units, making probes, making a lot of units, making probes. And when he gets into battles, you see him rearrange stuff, and then you see him dart back and make a lot of units and make probes and then dart back in. You can see his awareness of the mental checklist. And you're going to see him play really fast, and don't be intimidated by that, but note how he managed to work it in there. And honestly, this is part of the reason why I love Smurf accounts. Because I can get on an account that's not my own and say, you know what, on this account, I'm just trying to remember to build and macro during a battle. And then I get in a battle, and I'm like, see you later, units, best of luck. And then I go back to my main, and I make a bunch of stuff, and I go back to the battle. And sometimes I'll have won, and I'll feel fine. Sometimes I'll have lost everything. And when I rewatch the replay, I go, you know, really should have controlled those units a little bit better. But you know what? Now, over time, I'm trying to incorporate good unit control into this mental checklist. So now, all of a sudden, when I get into a battle in my current state, I'm not going, oh my god, I hope I don't forget my mental checklist. You know, I'm not getting too sucked into the battle and forgetting what I have to do. Now, when I get into a battle, I go, okay, I do need to do all this stuff, and I need to control this battle. Let's see how I'm going to manage my time in this situation properly. And that's what requires a lot of practice. So let's see. Dum, 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 bum, bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, rum, ba, ba, bum, ba, 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 bum, ba. By the way, I love Banjo-Kazooie, and in particular, I love the music. I love the music. Red Ice 82 asks, Day 9 as a beginner during the mid-game, is it important to learn to hotkey your army into separate chunks groups? Yeah, I think so. I've been forcing myself to do that, very Brood War style. First of all, I like it because it means I have to press more buttons, and I love pressing buttons. But also, I think you'll see that you have a lot more ease of positioning with stuff. For any of you who don't do that, experiment around with it. If you're a real big beginner player, like you've maybe only been playing real-time strategy games since the start of the beta, or since a little bit before the beta, something like that, just use one control group, man. Not a big deal at all. Again, if you have good strategy, and you have a good mental checklist of remembering to build stuff, you will be a top diamond level player. Like low APM, bad control in battles, but hell, if you're macroing and have a decent build and you're aware and conscious and sensitive to how your timings look, you'll do great. I would recommend to maybe more experienced players to split things up. But if you're a beginner, don't stress about all that junk. Not a big deal at all. And I will happily take one last question coming in here. Oh yeah, and of course people asking about what's a good setup here, what's a bad setup there, what about this, and what about that. Just trust yourself. Think of your own setup and trust yourself. I have a setup for Zerg that is way different from my setup with Terran that is way different than my setup for Protoss. Just all sort of depends. So trust yourself. Oh, this is awesome. These are two amazing questions. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, I hope both these players are still here. Rhinos says, Dear Day, if it's hard not to overshoot, is it a good thing to slow down a little and to train a little slower instead of rapid spamming? Yeah, begin slower, work your way up. But when I say slow, yeah, begin moving the mouse slowly. But I definitely think that pretty early on your focusing with your mouse control, you should do something like, okay, I'm going to select this probe. I'm going to try to click on that mineral patch. Box click. Long break. Okay, what were the results of that? Let's think about it. In other words, the repetition of the act of practicing that thing is very slow. Do that slowly, but still try to get used to click, move, and click. Because not only is that going to be a little bit helpful in game, but it feels so good. I'm not going to lie. It feels amazing. Your hands just feel great, and it's really rewarding, so I recommend it. Interestingly, an exercise I recommend is playing Minesweeper a lot. Play a lot of Minesweeper because it's very tiny boxes, and you're having to click very precisely. And there was a month where I played Minesweeper a lot, and when I came back, my mouse control was, like, phenomenal. I was blown away at how good it felt. So I recommend that. And I'm going to end with this amazing question by RStreamR, who says, I have no RTS experience, but I used to be involved in first-person shooter esports. What should be the very first thing I learned to do in Starcraft 2? Or the first aspect that I should concentrate on understanding? So these are the big three. These are the big. So here's the big in-game three that you should be thinking about: making workers, not forgetting pylons, making the pylons on time, and keeping your money below 500. That's it. Honestly, if you had to pick one of those, it would be keep your money below 500. I can say that to you, and literally you will just suddenly have a lot of stuff to do in your game. If you just say 500, well, that seems sort of low. And then you have someone like me going, no, that's huge. That's awful to be above 500. Never be above 500. Then you'll start being in your game, and you'll just be like, well, Jesus, if being above 500 really is the worst thing in the universe, all right, cool, I'm looking up at my money count at the top left. Ooh, it's 700 times. Oh, Jesus. I guess, okay, now I got to build some more gateways. Oh, my God. And with that motivation of keep your money below 500, so much just sort of falls out. And what the mental checklist is it's a nice way of sort of creating little small chunks of what to do, of how to keep that money low. I like to throw money under 500 in there as well, just because, again, that's the prime thing. But money under 500, build them probes, build them pylons. Didn't say anything about Chronoboost. Didn't say anything about strategy. Didn't say anything about any of that stuff. Because the strategy falls out of you keeping your money low. This isn't a speed thing. It's a you going, well, if I'm at 1,000 and Day 9 said to keep his money low, do I get Colossus? Or do I